Welcome to Cambodia Business Week with your host Anthony Galliano here on Radio 1 FM 103.7.
Good morning, Cambodia. It's 4 minutes after the hour, and today we're going to talk about one of the hottest industries in the Cambodian market. You think real estate's hot? The job market is just as hot. And we're going to go right to the sauce. How are people getting jobs today? Recruitment firms are being less relevant, obviously are less relevant, and web portals, technology is now leapfrogging ahead of traditional human resource firms, and technology is really the avenue where people are job seeking. They actually use a lot of the technology available, and employers are using it as well. So there's a fantastic portal out there called Everjobs Cambodia, and we're very fortunate today to have the guys that run it. Let's just put it that way. So first, I'd like to introduce Niels van Klooster. How's that?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Thank you, Anthony.
And Alexandra Luchyk.
Yeah. Oh, well done in the pronunciation.
It's an amazing international city. I'm beginning to get the names really well. First, Niels, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're originally from, and your schools, what degrees you got? I mean, people that are listening about jobs,
Sure.
Education being very important, right?
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm Dutch. I was born in Groningen. That's a little city up in the north of the Netherlands. I lived there for about 8 years, and then I moved to Belgium, Antwerp, where I lived till I was 18. Then I moved back to the Netherlands again, Amsterdam, where I studied Bachelor in Economics for about 3 or 4 years. After that, I decided to go further in finance, so I did a master in London in corporate finance at the Cass Business School.
So you were supposed to be a banker.
Yes. I had a very short, brief.
That's where the money is, right?
Yeah, it used to be. So I joined a Dutch bank in the M&A department for about a year, and then I decided that banking was not really my thing, and decided to help companies grow and try to do that here in the developing markets, or the part of the world where everything is growing really fast, Asia.
So you majored in mostly finance and corporate finance. So how did you switch over to the tech side of life?
I always had a strong interest for tech and actually venture capital. So I was really interested in doing investments in startups.
Now, you guys are usually pretty restless, right? When you do corporate finance and you're an M&A person, you don't really like to stick to one thing too long. So
no, exactly. Yeah, and it's people like to hop around, especially nowadays.
Right.
I think it's good to do a little bit of banking or consultancy before you really get into running the businesses.
So how's I imagine your finance and corporate finance education has helped you a lot in being a technology person?
Maybe not so much as in technology, but more about learning how to execute or setting priorities and setting up businesses.
Yeah, I think some of the things that this certainly would be valuable is the economics of a business, because there's a lot of tech companies that have great ideas, and they think the idea will obviously just flourish and everything will work out, but the economics of running a business is really important.
Exactly. There's also a lot of hard work behind it, what people often forget, especially for classifieds websites or portals. And one thing you have to keep in mind is the cash flows, of course.
Sure. Now, Alexandra, you you come from a country where I think a lot of people who are listening may not know or be aware of. It's called Belarus, right?
Exactly, right.
Or Belarussia.
Yeah, Belarus. Very small country. Even in Europe, as they say, all the people are like, what is it? Now, where is it? Is it in Europe? I'm like, yes, it is. I'm a bit of a cocktail. I was born there, but I was raised in Italy.
Raised in Italy. That's so the name Alexandra.
And then I moved to London for my education. So I did my bachelor there in international business between Barcelona and London, and then I graduated with my master's in international management between Hong Kong and Ireland.
Okay. So you two extremely well-educated people, which is going to make this very interesting, because this should be an incredible success, so we hope it is. So before we get into the business itself, just tell us a little bit about your hobbies and interests. Alexandra first.
I dance. I've been dancing for quite some time. Okay, in Italy it was much more intense. So I
Is this ballet or?
a bit of ballet as well,
Really?
but mostly
Okay.
contemporary and jazz. So I moved here only recently, like I think less than a month ago. So I haven't really found my spot yet. So we're like a dance school or something. But yeah, this is usually what I do in my free time.
Okay, and
I like sports. I run a lot
he looks like he's pretty healthy, right?
most of the times. Running, biking, swimming.
Typical Dutch activities, right?
Dutch very flat, so it's
Right.
ideal for biking and running.
Okay, now you're in the human resource industry per se, right? So I think it's always interesting about the jobs you've had in the past and how they've actually helped you, or not, to be the case. Most of us started out as waiters when we went to college, or some sort of interesting hospitality thing to supplement our incomes for when we went to college. So, Alexandra, what was your first job?
A waitress. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, I was a waitress in this massive restaurant in Italy. We had like, I think about 800 customers coming on a Saturday or Sunday. It was huge. So it was a lot of running.
Hectic.
Yeah, really hectic. It
I
was
always
a lot
find
of
people
running.
in the restaurant industry to be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So, what was some of the experiences that you had as being a waitress that has sort of helped you in the future?
Oh God, be nice to customers. That's the.
Or else you don't get tipped, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, once I almost got in a fight with a customer because like I wasn't really nice to her. So from there I'm like, okay, be nice to customer. They're always right. So.
Okay. And Niels?
My first job was an internship at some small M&A boutique in Austria.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not like us poor people starting as waiters, right?
No.
A bit different.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of the experiences you had, because Alexandra, I mean, 11 countries. I think you said you've worked in, right?
Yeah, sometimes I'm just like, which one was it again? Where was I last year? I don't even remember.
So in your career, what sort of interesting jobs did you have?
I did a bit of everything, but I think the most interesting, aside from Everjobs, it was the one in India. I was half year in India, setting up the first factory of fresh pasta, which is really odd. But it is
do
a...
Indians eat pasta?
They will,
They
very
will.
soon.
Okay. I haven't never seen pasta on the menu in an Indian restaurant, but that's...
No, actually they have, I mean, the rich customers of India, there's quite a lot of them. So when you start to push like a luxury product like a pasta, like ravioli,
Right.
into the big supermarkets, it has quite good potential. So that was pretty interesting. Then I also worked, when I was young, in Maldives as a guest relation person. So basically I was welcoming the people from the seaplane and bringing them to the rooms.
And that was the most fun job you ever had, right?
probably was, yes.
And Niels, your interesting jobs. I hope there was some of them not in finance, but
I worked a while for Nike.
Nike?
Yeah,
Wow.
the shoe brand. It was pretty fun. They allow you to do a lot of sports during working hours. I was also in the finance department, so it was a bit of finance involved. I worked for a bank, some investment funds, a bit more boring, a lot of numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. I've spent 30 years in banking myself, so. It's, let's talk about the name of your portal is Everjobs, but there's an investor, I guess, backing it called Rocket Internet, right? So people may not be familiar with Rocket Internet, but it's an incredible company with a lot of projects worldwide, particularly tech. So Niels, can you tell us about your investor, I guess is best to put, Rocket Internet?
Yeah, Rocket Internet. Their mission is to become the largest internet platform in the world. They have over 100 ventures, mostly focused on e-commerce and classifieds. So they started Everjobs 4 years ago in Myanmar. And after 1 year, they decided that it worked quite well. So they decided to roll out this platform in other countries as well. Right now we're in 4 countries here in Asia. And because they have so many similar classifieds websites or e-commerce websites, they have a lot of experience in marketing and IT that we can share with the other ventures.
So I mean, the projects are classified websites primarily, right?
Here in Asia, they have a lot of classifieds.
Right, and it's human resource and other
Yeah,
categories.
cars, real estate. Here in Cambodia has at the moment only classifieds for jobs.
And this is a very successful model, right?
Yeah, it's
But I would have thought it would be extremely competitive as well.
It is. Yeah, you see new classifieds job websites popping up almost every month here, I think.
Right.
So it's quite tough. But luckily, we have a lot of knowledge in online marketing itself. So
And that helps a lot.
Yeah, of course. The critical thing for a classifieds website is the traffic you have on the website. And
Let's talk about Everjobs then. So when did Everjobs come to the market here?
we started in February 2015, setting up the business, so getting an office, hiring people, and we officially launched in June 2015. So it's been a bit more over a year now.
And what is your primary products? I know it's this, when you talk about tech in the Ethernet space, products isn't always the word you use, but what do you offer to the market?
So we allow companies to post their job listings on our website and get applications. We have several packages depending on how many people you're looking for and how much exposure you want on the website. And besides just allowing people to apply for the jobs that the companies have on the website, we also have a CV database with over or almost 30,000 CVs online right now, where companies also can actively search for the candidates.
They have access to those 30,000 CVs?
Yeah, so you get access to the basic information, so the last work experience, what kind of skills you have. And then you have CV views, so people can click on the CV to see the full...
And that's where they start paying, right?
Exactly.
Okay. We'll talk about the financial model of it. I guess you get a lot of recruitment firms probably using it as well, right? Because the CV database would be something really interesting, I guess, for a recruitment firm.
Yeah, we get a lot of attention from recruitment firms.
Did you charge them differently than...
We're still thinking of the right way to handle that. We try to work more closely together with the companies directly, because we want the job seekers to have the opportunity to connect directly with the companies.
So you're sort of in the middle, is the best put?
Yeah, we are, but we try to interfere as less.
It's almost like an
possible.
exchange.
Yeah.
Put it in a financial sense. Yeah. So I mean, the employers put their data, what jobs they want, and you have the job seekers putting their data, their CVs.
Yeah, we connect them.
And you connect them.
As easy as that.
Right. So there's very little human interaction.
No, well, we do. Actually, we also try to be very close to the students, especially the fresh graduates. We organize a lot of CV workshops. So we go to universities, we meet the students.
You help.
Yeah, exactly. We try to give them tips on how to highlight the skills and apply for jobs in a certain way. So we do have some human interaction as well.
Yeah, because I guess before the recruitment is probably a little bit of not the nicest word to say when we're looking at the industry. It's really human resources. So you've essentially a little bit taken the human side out of it, right?
Yeah, but we're trying to bring it back a bit. We're trying to be more than just an online platform, like Alex was telling. We really want to help the job seekers to find their dream job and help them in the whole process, and not just by applying, but also how to behave during interviews. Is
this because this is the brave new world where everything is tech, and people are really more dependent on technology to get entertained, to interact socially? Tech's sort of taking over our lives. Is this just another sort of example of where tech has substituted more of the human interaction side of the business?
Not entirely, or at least not yet.
I hope not.
Yeah, exactly.
Soon they're going to have a tech radio host.
Yeah, that's not much fun.
Well, let's talk about your positioning in Cambodia then, because you said you started 2015. You're pretty much a year in. How do you see yourself positioned in the market? And especially versus there's so many recruitment firms out there, which you're probably going to put out of work soon, but there's so many out there. How are you positioning yourself versus the recruitment firms and the other websites, which we'll talk about in a minute?
The recruitment firms, they offer obviously a much more personalized service, although we also emphasize a lot on customer service. But we try to offer a quicker solution. So with the CV database, companies can actively look themselves. And they can also really quick upload their jobs and then have a really clear overview of the people who apply to those jobs. So it's more about the human resources managers being able to take things in their own hands and be more responsible for what they post online.
Maybe just to be a little bit more challenging on this, because one of the things clearly that the market has not matured yet is on the human resource side in companies. It's a relatively new function for most companies, SMEs in Cambodia, where they don't have experienced human resource managers, or may have a human resource person. I mean, they may have somebody that interacts with employees for salary purposes and so forth, but as we traditionally know human resources, which is a really critical function in most companies all around the world, because you're developing your people, you're developing their talent, you're trying to get the best people in the market. So that function globally is a hugely important function. But here in Cambodia, I think it was taken very lightly, to say the least. Some of the large international companies have it. But to me, I would say 90% of the companies don't really have a human resource function. So is that a little bit challenging for people that are just getting CVs, but trying to do it on their own rather than going through the intermediary recruitment firms?
It's definitely a big challenge to educate the companies here and make them aware that they should spend money and time to the whole human resource department of a company. You already can notice that some companies here are evolving in that way. You see that Chipmunk Group is trying to develop a personal development program within the company. Damco is putting a lot of time and energy in it. So it's going the right way, but there's still a lot of companies who just call recruitment agencies and tell them I need these people and I need them tomorrow.
And really, I guess also there's been no secret that there's a little bit of concern from companies about using recruitment companies, because there's so much churning in the market. So we're not seeing people essentially being loyal when they're employed. I mean, I think they're almost looking for their next job in most cases. If you look at we look at a lot of CVs from our company, and what surprises me is the length of stay at a company that most candidates have. It's not unusual for somebody to move every 8 to 14 months. You never see people staying jobs 5 years or 10 years. I mean, I stayed at my employer for 17 years. I think that's completely unheard of these days, that somebody would actually spend almost a half a lifetime or something at their working career somewhere. So this is, I guess, a little bit of concern with companies, that they know when they're hiring people, the odds are those people won't. There's probably about an 80% or 70% chance they won't last a year.
Turnover is extremely high here. I think it's also a bit something of this time and age, not only in Asia but in the whole world, that people are hopping jobs more than before. But this is a challenge of companies, indeed, that they should not only give the right wage but also try to create some development program to really retain the employees. It's all part of the development what's going on here in Cambodia right now, I think.
So what is the, if I can ask you, Alexandra, what is the current situation in the job market in Cambodia? What is the current situation? I mean, my view is there's zero unemployment.
It's 0.03, if I'm correct.
I mean that's zero unemployment. I mean, we look at countries like the U.S. They'll say if we have under 5%, then we're affected at full employment. I mean, so we are more than at full employment. We're under-resourced, right?
Absolutely. There is, I think, it's one of the lowest in the world. I think even Italy has 30% of unemployment.
Spain is like
40, 45. So it is quite impressive. So when people ask me, do you think there are jobs? I'm like, yes, they are. Like
so anybody that's breathing could get a job.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not only for graduates, but it's also for people who did not have the chance to pursue the studies.
So at zero, why are we at complete zero unemployment? I mean, I have my views, but let me ask you, Niels, why is this country at 0% unemployment?
Maybe. Information is not completely correct here.
Okay, I'll accept that.
I just think it's like about how countries determine unemployment, right? So I think if you also consider the people who, I don't know, sell the coconuts on the street as well,
right,
then obviously the amount of people unemployed is less compared to like official statistics, for instance, in Europe.
Okay, well, what would you say the unemployment rate is then?
Here?
Yeah.
You've been here longer than me, so you should have a more of a clear idea. I don't think it's that high, actually. I have no idea outside the capital what is the situation, but here.
I think there's an extreme difference between here in Phnom Penh and the rest of Cambodia. I mean, we live mostly here in the city, so we see a lot of developments and companies popping up every week or every month. Here in the city, it might seems that it is close to zero or very low at least, but on the countryside, it's definitely not the case.
Right.
I think.
Are we experiencing wage inflation? I mean, are salaries going up?
Definitely.
Okay. In what particular spots?
From everything ranging from banking to customer service to especially skilled workers. I think maybe on the countryside for the agriculture sector, it's still a bit the same, but we can see that someone who comes fresh from the university can now expect a bit higher salary than a year ago already. So wages are definitely increasing.
What's the hottest jobs in the market?
I think banking and finance is the
Banking and finance.
Those are the ones which have the most the higher number of vacancies of openings. So, but I think the most searched industry by the employees is the IT one.
IT.
Yeah.
And what particularly in IT? When you talk, IT is a very broad category.
Exactly. So that includes everything, but that's also a very underserved segment. There's not enough jobs in this field yet.
Okay. How do we get employees more loyal? I mean, you guys are in the intermediation of getting people connected. But I mean, your experience, how do we get, I mean, I think this is one of the biggest problems in Cambodia is the, and that's on both sides. Let's face it, I don't see a lot of companies trying to build that loyalty, and build a long-term career. You talk to most younger Cambodians that work in companies, and you ask them, what's your career path? Mm-hmm. And I say, I have no idea. I mean, I don't know what this I mean, I'm working at this company, I'm doing an accounting job, or I'm doing a customer service job, but my employer doesn't tell me what the next step is. There's no succession planning for me to move to the next spot, and I don't even know what I would do. I think some of the Western companies are trying to instill some sort of career planning so people stick around. Mm-hmm. So, what is the issue here in terms of how do we? This is a problem, I think, for the economy as well, because you have constant people moving all the time, and they're actually effectively getting higher wages, but there's no commitment or loyalty to the company. So how do we change that?
Very good question. I think it's also like a cultural thing, right? So it's on both sides. The local employers which open their own company don't have much of this corporate culture, personal development and so on, unless these are like foreigners company coming here. And also local people, they don't really, I don't know, sometimes what I see, they really they're happy with what they do, and they're not really willing, not taking that extra step. They're just happy within their own duties. So
is it also an issue that, Cambodians instinctually want to have their own business? So there's a percentage of people that get a job just to get experience, and then they'll try to do something on their own. Is this also a bit of an issue?
I think so. We see that a lot everywhere.
Whether they're successful or not is another story.
Yeah.
But I'm amazed at sometimes how people start companies with very little experience just because they work somewhere for 4 or 5 years, and they have a hot idea, and they think that idea will just help them to be extremely successful at the age of 24.
Sure.
Yeah. But let's talk about your competition. So we had Canon from Bangtan, I think it was about 6 or 8 months ago.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly when. And he, to give him credit, he started really, I think 2000 or something, putting this thing together when there was effectively no employment market or human resource market. And he admittedly says this thing, his Bangtan site, had took off in the last 2 or 3 years, like incredible from what had started the first 10 years, where it was kind of hard for him. But it is a great name. For starters, I guess, advantage. I've used it myself. It's very powerful in terms of getting. It's got a loyalty factor. Mm-hmm. People know it and use it for good or bad. I think because again, it's a great source for getting CVs. There's no doubt about it, which you guys are trying to do the same thing. So how are you positioning yourself versus Bangtan?
Well, I think we're more of a modern version. So our user interface is very, very friendly. Looks a bit more modern compared to Bangtang. And it also works a lot quicker. So employers are able to upload a job within a minute on our website. And also for job seekers, once they've created a CV, they can just apply to all the companies we have by one click. So it's I would say a lot faster, and the user interface is way friendlier. Obviously Bangtang has been around here for 10 years, so they have a lot of traffic, but we're growing very, very fast. So we hope to be there.
Yeah, it's a huge market.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet penetration now is 30%, and it's supposed to go to 65 in the next 4 years. So I'm pretty sure there is enough space for a few players.
How many sites are there out there? I mean, even I guess employment companies, human resource companies, have their own functionality to upload CVs and employers to put on. So how many? Is it crowded out there?
I think there are hundreds almost. I think.
Really?
Yeah, we see new classifieds or job classifieds website popping up every week almost. So it's a crowded market.
So how do you differentiate?
I mean, competition is everywhere, right? It's not only in this industry. Yeah, I don't think there is now a thing that you can do and be the only one doing it. Like maybe really, really few. So competition is healthy. I mean, it keeps you really into improving your product every day. So
what tools do you use to differentiate yourself?
Well, I think mainly is the what I mentioned before is the interaction with the students. So we actually go there and help them. We call them. We make sure that they get the jobs. Like we saw they apply for this job. They also want to apply for this other jobs. So we try to help them the CVs. Like we see the CVs which are not complete or do not look good, and we try to improve them together with the students. So we do a lot of offline as well.
So I mean, it's maybe a silly question, but I'll try it anyway. What's more important in terms of getting the CVs or getting the employers to put their data on it? Is there a balance? It's 50-50?
I think it should be a balance. Obviously, you only get the CVs when you have the employers on board. But yeah, you only get the employers when
right, the chicken and egg. All right, so what are the tools? I mean, is SEO, email marketing? How do you get the traffic to the site?
Well, we have a regional team, regional marketing team who's specialized in SEO, social media marketing, and it's obviously really important in countries here in Asia. Facebook is an enormous.
Okay. So you use Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
And any other social media platforms?
Oh, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not really big here.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But the main one is Facebook, definitely.
All right. So for our listeners who are entering the employment market here, what should they, or actually going to school saying, I want to, in 3 years or 4 years, I want a career in Cambodia that's well paid, where I could grow and the industry will grow. What do you suggest?
One thing, what employers are always looking for is experience. So if you're studying right now, you could start already by getting a part-time job and gaining experience. That way you're one step ahead of the 200,000 students that graduate every year. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing is obviously languages, which are really important here in Cambodia.
Languages. So study Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese,
English
Japanese.
first.
English first. Yeah. Well, I think that's just by nature. People have to speak English here. Unfortunately, I always get a laugh out of people that are Westerners who are complaining that they have to use the Cambodian language with official government documents. I mean, you're in Cambodia. Get with it. You know? But anyway, English, at least we find in our companies that that's very little problem. I mean, even on the streets of Phnom Penh, you pretty much anybody in the service industry can do that. So that's good. But as another language, is it time to study Mandarin and Cantonese?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think in the whole world almost, no? It's not only here, but...
I mean, we see certainly a lot of companies want Chinese speakers. I mean, it's become very important. So Chinese investors here are much larger than Japanese and Korean investors these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So interview tips, if we could spend a minute on that, because at least my experience with interviewing people has been very hot and cold. Yeah, you either get very affable people that really try to get it, but most Cambodians are quiet when they're on interviews. They don't like to talk about their successes or their achievements.
Really humble, yeah.
Very humble and very hard to. They're obviously very nervous, especially when they're speaking with an English-speaking person or a Westerner. So that's something they need to get over as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, any interview tips that you could pass on? I know you guys are the experts, so we'll
I think it's been, said by everyone, but it's really important to make the research about the company you're applying for. 'Cause sometimes you get people, they come there, it's like, so you know what we do, and they just say totally random things.
But
and
I would say I have never had an interview with a person here that knew what our company did. So, I mean, I know they tell you to do that in the Western world, but it's very important.
It is, right? You want to see that you at least looked up on the internet who we are and what we're doing, right? And don't expect you to know everything, but just like, at least what is it? So that's really important, I think. And also, I think the problem here is like there are a lot of courses at university which are not even there, like like logistics, for instance, right? So it is really challenging for companies to find qualified people. So since they are known, they just look for people which look bright and willing to learn, and they just spend a lot of time and money into their personal development. So I think the key thing that you should show during your interview is that you're really willing to learn and to do things. So this is aside from all the the technical knowledge you might know.
Niels, any tips for job seekers? Important things to do?
We got a lot of not complaints, but notes from companies. They're saying that whenever they have some job seeker in an interview, the job seeker is always asking what they can gain from their company. What companies are looking for is what you can add to the company. So think for yourself what kind of skills you have, what kind of values you have, and how you can help the company grow, or what you can add to the company.
Loyalty.
Yeah.
That helps, right? All right. What are your future plans? We talked to Bangkok when they were on. They've gone into the classified. You guys obviously do classified as well. So what are your future plans for Everjobs Cambodia or Rocket Internet in Cambodia?
Well, for Rocket Internet, I cannot say so much because I simply don't know. But for Everjobs, we're looking into expanding in more markets. And
Laos, so usually a next logical step.
That could be a potential market. It's not really big, but
okay. So what about in Cambodia? Anything new coming? Any new features and functions on your wonderful portal?
What we've been working on in Myanmar right now is starting a classifieds website for educational courses. So I know that Darren is also thinking about that. So that could be.
Or we got Darren Jensen coming up next. For those that aren't aware.
So working more closely together with the universities and the learning institutes.
Okay, and Alexandra, what are the expectations for development in the employment market here? Are we? We talked about the metrics being loyalty is pretty weak. There's some debate whether there's zero unemployment or not, but there's obviously a pretty hot employment market. We have wage inflation. We have a lot of investment coming in that's going to suck more people out of into the job market. I think one of the things I'm interested in is are we going to start seeing migration from the provinces to Phnom Penh where all the action is? Because they're saying there's going to be 3 million residents of Phnom Penh soon.
Yeah, could be, but also I think I recently read some statistics about the tourism outside Phnom Penh, and actually the figures were pretty high. So I think a lot of people travel there, and a lot of things are coming up there as well in terms of tourism. So I think that in this particular segment there will be a lot of job offers in there as well. So people.
Do they pay well? I think that's people are interested in also besides having a nice career, they obviously they want to get their own apartments and build families. So hospitality doesn't tend to pay as well as other careers, right?
Well, I'm
not sorry.
Not yet, but I guess if there's a lot of demand in that sector, wages will increase by themselves as well.
Okay, we're gonna. Well, first of all, let me thank you for coming on. We got Darren up next, but I have to ask my last question. So, what do you love about Cambodia, and what would you like to see improved? And we'll start with Alexandra.
What I love about Cambodia, Chicken. It's lovely here.
You love chicken. About Cambodia. Okay. There's chickens in other countries.
Yeah. I'm kidding. I only been here for a few weeks, so I really like it so far. I'm really enjoying it. And what I would like to see, in terms of everything, maybe a bit of improvement on the public transportation, or at least the street lights.
Street lights or traffic lights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'd all like to see people obey traffic rules. That would be the first start.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
I think, absolutely right. With now the projection of having 3 million residents and there's developments coming up everywhere, there's going to, I think we're in for
a little bit more organized.
Traffic nightmare. It's not about buses. Niels?
Well, I love the people here. They're so friendly, smiling, open, helpful. I've been in Sri Lanka for a while, and I love to come back, or I love to come back again.
Improvements?
Improvements. I agree that a metro line would be, subway would really be helpful here.
All right.
Maybe,
Well, thanks, guys. We'll be back
Thank you very much.
in a minute or two with Darren.
We speak to the movers and shakers of the business world. So when it comes to business in Cambodia, look no further than the Cambodia Business Week on Radio 1 FM 103.7.
Number one hit music station.
Welcome to Cambodia Business Week with your host Anthony Galliano here on Radio 1 FM 103.7.
Well, we're back. What was that? Really interesting. What's going on in the employment market in Cambodia? It's looks like it's going to really grow really quick. We have some really interesting metrics with which would be challenging to employers, but thanks for Niels and Alexandra for filling us in what's going on with the job market. We're going to switch over to really a new topic, which we're going to talk to Darren Jensen. Welcome, Darren.
Hi, good morning.
Great to have you in the studio. Thank you for being so patient and waiting for your spot.
It's okay. It's a pleasure. It's interesting to listen to the other guests.
Okay. Well, let's talk about first you. So tell us a bit about yourself, where you're originally from, and where did you go to school? What degrees do you have? The normal startup questions.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm from the UK. I'm actually from a town called Eastbourne in Sussex. I went to university. I actually studied structural engineering and had a job there originally as an engineer, and then I decided, that's not really for me. Did a quick career change, did a master's degree in computer science, and then that's the sort of career path I stuck with, is computers and computer programming technology. So I'm a technology guy. I'm a nerd.
And why aren't you working in Silicon Valley? Why are you working in Cambodia?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, firstly, I'm fascinated by Silicon Valley. It's an amazing place, but I've never actually been. So it's one of my dreams to go there, actually. And I do love startups. But I'm here in Cambodia. I mean, I've been here for quite a while now. So and it's been an exciting journey to watch the country grow, and I've grown with the country as well. And
how long have you been here, Darren?
Well, I came here in 2001. And it was because of the dot-com bubble bursting at that time.
So you were one of the casualties?
I was the casualty, yeah. That's
Okay.
right, yeah. Because
Right.
I was...
And you were in England at the time?
Yeah, I was working in London at the time for a software consultancy. And they started laying off staff because of that issue. And I was one of the casualties. I was one of the ones to fall. But I was paid a redundancy sum of money. So that was what...
That was your startup capital?
That was my startup capital, yes.
And you
indeed.
moved to Cambodia?
Well, yeah, I went travelling. So I went to West Africa for a little bit, and then I came over to Thailand. So I was doing a little bit of a world tour. In fact, I always loved travelling. It was my third time travelling. I actually went to India during my gap year. Then I went to Africa in between degrees. And then when I was made redundant, I just thought, well, I'll go travelling again. And it brought me to Cambodia, basically. Yeah.
Okay. And what made you stay? It wouldn't be anything to do with a woman, I hope.
Partly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cambodian women charm always does that to Westerners, unfortunately. Or fortunately. So you then started a family here and you decided to stay and start a business.
That's correct, yeah. So,
And I don't think you started this business first, though, or you started from the beginning?
no, the business that I'm running now is fairly new. We're almost 2 years old. But when I first started, I was a consultant for a little bit, and then I started a company called Yoke, which is a software company, software as a service company, probably one of the first in Cambodia at the time.
Yoke, W-O-L-K? Or W-K?
Y-O-O-L-K.
Sorry, Y.
Yeah, Yoke. It was basically born from Yellow Pages. So we basically started it.
Were you involved in Yellow Pages?
I was working there at the time, you
Okay,
see.
all right.
And actually, when I was working there, I was a consultant, and I was trying to help improve their website,
Right.
and improve their online, basically their online presence. And when we were working on the product, we were like, why don't we do this for other companies, other Yellow Pages? There must be other sort of organizations in countries similar to Cambodia that are struggling to find the talent to develop their websites to make them more smoother, user-friendly, faster, and so on and so on. So we developed the product and managed to find clients.
I have to ask you, how important are websites these days?
Websites are, I would say, very important.
Because social media platforms are really becoming as important, if not more important. So what's the balance?
Right, yeah, that's a good question. I think businesses these days, they probably look first to Facebook, right? They probably say, okay, we need an online presence. How do we do that? Facebook. Facebook has company pages, I believe, which you can use to completely,
they make a huge amount of money on company pages, which have to advertise to get any kind of presence on their platform. So.
Yeah, that's right. But I also think that you lose a little bit of the company's DNA by using Facebook, and it's also nice to have your own place. It's like a place to call home, and your home is your website, and you can do what you like with that website. And if you've got a good company to develop that website, like Rotati, then we can build something that actually could surpass the benefits of Facebook, because you can actually drive traffic towards your website.
And I think we'll talk more about that, because I think websites have gone through effectively a bad time, because of the social media platforms. So they weren't seen as, there was a lot of focus on social media platforms. Now I think they're making a huge comeback, because if you talk to a lot of companies here and the traffic that gets on their website and how they use their website for customer service or for leads generation and then responding to leads, websites are actually making a huge comeback, and we'll get more information from you. But let's talk more about your company, Rotati.
Yes.
First of all, the name. Where did you get that name from?
They're very good questions. There's a story to that. I mean, I'm always looking for opportunities, and I'm always coming up with ideas for startups, tech startups primarily. And the name Rotati just basically came because I was looking for a company name that had a logo that came with it. So I went onto an online marketplace and I found a designer who'd made a logo, and he also had the domain name rotati.com. And I thought, well, Rotati, okay, it's Italian. It's an Italian word. I'm not even Italian.
Does it mean something?
It means rotated.
Rotated.
Yeah. Okay. So it's an Italian word. Some of my friends joke it sounds like a kebab shop, Rotati Kebab and Grill. But I'm okay with that. It's amusing. But so it was going to be a different project actually at the time when I bought it. And it just sat in my drawer for a while.
It was going to be a kebab shop.
It was going to be a kebab shop, an online kebab shop.
Right.
It sat in my drawer for a while, and I've got a few other domains like that are just sort of sitting there. I'm waiting for the opportunity to build something, and then the opportunity came with Rotati. I basically thought to myself, okay, I need a name for my consultancy, and Rotati's, I think, a good name. It's a simple domain name. It's easy to remember.
Okay, so what does Rotati do? What does it offer to the market? What are your products? What are your solutions?
Right. Essentially, we're a software consultancy firm, and we specialize in building web applications and mobile applications for SMEs, large businesses, NGOs, startups, anyone who needs those types of products. We also do other solutions like business intelligence solutions, where we can take business data, mash it up with other data, and provide you a sort of a reporting panel to give you some business intelligence and help you make more informed decisions.
All right. So for the layman out there, when you say web solutions, they immediately think, oh, you do websites, but you do a lot more than that, right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So how would you further elaborate when when you say web and software solutions? What does it really mean? Let's say I'm an SME. I'm just starting up, and I want to talk to Darren Jensen. What is Darren Jensen going to tell me that he does for my company as I start up?
Exactly, yes. So aside from your promotional website, we can also build tools to help your business grow. So we just had the guests on from the recruitment agent, and one of the issues, of course, is human resources. And all of these things, all of the things that you do as part of your business, human resources, accounting, point of sale, those kind of things that you need, they all need tools, ideally. A lot of SMEs here just pick up a pen and paper. They buy a notebook and a pen, and then they write down their inventory on a pen and paper.
Right.
And then some businesses buy a PC and maybe install Microsoft Excel and use a spreadsheet.
That's their accounting system.
That's
single
right.
entry accounting.
That's right.
Instead of double entry, yeah.
And
then some businesses use Xero, GNU Cash, or QuickBooks, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Is that sort of then when you hear that means that they're actually building their solutions by themselves, or that it integrates into what you do?
Yeah, that's right. I think what I've seen with companies, they as they grow, they go from paper to spreadsheets, and then the spreadsheet just gets too much. They put too much business of their own personal business rules in the spreadsheet to meet their business needs, and it becomes too much of a logistical nightmare. They can't cope with the maintenance of that spreadsheet, and their business outgrows the needs of just a single spreadsheet. So we come in and say, okay, how about we provide you a nice solution that's easy to use, easy to maintain, grows with your business, and that's where we come in and we provide that for SMEs.
Okay, so is your business model more for startups or for mature companies?
I would say it's more for startups, actually, and that's just personally because of my background. I am in the startup world,
and there's plenty of them here, right?
Plenty.
But they usually don't have a lot of capital in the beginning, which means that you're not dealing with somebody with full pockets. You're dealing with somebody with empty pockets usually. That's correct. Yeah,
that is a challenge. It's a challenge working for free, or on a low budget. You're right. And one of the things that we like to do is put investors in front of some of these startups. So
can you do that?
I can. Yes. Yeah.
You link investors from overseas.
From overseas, and some of them are setting up shop here as well.
Private equity.
Yeah.
So you're in the private equity business.
I'm not personally.
That's very lucrative.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we part of a startup, of course, is money to invest at the beginning, because for a startup to work, the founders need to be dedicated and need to put all their effort into that startup. And for us to work with that startup, we will need to be paid. And so we're looking for some funding. We have worked with startups who bootstrap, which basically means they take money from their own pockets and, ask family and friends to donate. And that's bootstrapping. But generally that's a little bit, a small amount of money. So we do like to find startups that have potential and would be of interest to an investor, and then we can bring an investor in.
Well, I think that a lot of people would be interested, certainly in the investment side. So,
yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of great new ideas in Cambodia?
Yeah, absolutely. New ideas for Cambodia, but probably old ideas for the West, I guess. Right.
So there's a lot of people that come on the show that say one of the opportunities in Cambodia is to look at what's been successful in the Western world that's not here yet.
That's right. You can basically predict the future here because it's about to be laid out in a similar way to the West. So whatever is not here now or is not being done very well now is an opportunity,
right.
Basically. Yeah.
But this is still a small economy.
It's still it is a small economy. That's right. Yes.
Okay. So do you have competitors?
Yeah, we do. There's a few, but not many. Any other company that does software consultancy like we do are our competitors. But one thing that we like to say is we do come from a startup background, and that's we're probably one of the few that actually do that, have that focus. Another one is the technology. Now, it's not always a customer will come to us with a specific technology requirement. Usually they want a product, they don't care how we build it, but sometimes we get companies asking for a specific technology that only we can do in Cambodia.
I'm going to be honest. I think if you go to a customer or potential customer, you say, we're a software solutions company, they're going to have a scratch their head and say, what is that? So how do you get your potential customer on board that they actually need you and that they'll help their business? Yeah,
that's right. It's a challenge because it's quite a new concept, I think, in Cambodia, particularly amongst SMEs. They really don't, as you say, they don't know what exactly we do, and they're left scratching their head. But we turn it around and ask them what do they need, what are their pain points, what are the things that they need help with, and we've been helping a company in the province that sells SIM cards and scratch cards for mobile companies, and they use a spreadsheet, and they have 6 or 7 shops, then they have to send those spreadsheets every day by email to reconcile in head office or something like that, right? And we've come in and said, how about we give you a simple solution? You just log into a website and you can see all of the activity of all of your shops real time. And then there's that ping moment, that aha, like, right, you can do that? Yeah, of course. And then how much is the next question, right? So we talk to the customers and we find what they want.
You can put that into applications as well, so it makes it really easy.
Yeah.
And mobile apps, I think, also are on the rise here in Cambodia. So I think people, when they think of apps, they think of it really as a big project that, and some, because people think of it as games or big, platforms. But mobile apps are quite useful for businesses. I mean, it's as simple as, let's say, like a microfinance institution wants to do simple credit checks on a tablet. It's a mobile app, effectively.
That's right, yeah.
And it's very useful for the business instead of somebody using a pen and paper.
Yeah.
So, and they're also thought of as being very expensive. So could you talk about the myth of, them being expensive and they're really for larger, bigger things than just how they could be useful to small businesses?
Yeah, the development of mobile apps, actually, the cost of developing them has gone down, and the reason is actually a technical reason. So I won't go into that too much, but it's basically a consolidation of technologies. So before there were so many different technologies, and it was quite complex, and you had to be very specialized. And now it's complementary. The technology is the same for web and for mobile, even for building what we call native mobile apps that basically run on your iPhone or Android. So we can develop apps at a reasonable cost now, and they have all the benefits that you just mentioned. The fact that we can use them instead of a pen and paper. And one of the real great benefits of a mobile app is that they can work offline. And we've had a few clients who work in the provinces, and they need to do checks on certain systems in the province, and they want a mobile app that works offline, and we can provide that, and it's a really great solution for these organizations.
Okay, so we were talking about the employment market today with Niels and with Alexandra, and very exciting. How are you finding the talent in the market for tech?
Right. Yes, that is a challenge. Many challenges. One of the ways I address this is I provide my own training in the.
And that could be dangerous.
It's
because once people learn, they want to double their salary and go somewhere else.
Yeah. Our training program is actually quite comprehensive, and we like to provide training that really helps the developer to grow in their career. But we also hire a lot of graduates, so they've finished their university degree. We have quite a serious selection process, and then we give them the training that they need, followed by an internship. And what we found is following the internship, we give them some of the things you were mentioning earlier this morning about career advice, progression onto the next level, and we try to provide that within our own organisation to keep our staff with us for the longer term. I have to say,
are you finding a lot of turnover? Or are you able to
I was
keep
just
them?
going to say, I have to say, touch wood, no one has actually yet left our company. So
In 2 years.
yeah.
Are you chaining them to the desk?
Well, if you go to the office now, you'll see there's no one there.
Okay.
They don't even work Saturday mornings. Yeah, it's.
And I think that's being phased out. I mean, in our company as well,
Right.
we're starting to tell people they don't have to work Saturdays.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, come in a half a day. It's just, it's more of a social thing than
Yeah, exactly,
anything else.
exactly.
I don't think a lot of real work gets done on Saturdays in companies, but that's good. I mean, I think that's something certainly I look at a lot now as to how do you make it more pleasant to work at a company? What can you do? Even small things, because it costs, obviously, developing people takes a lot of money. And if there's small things you could do, like give off Saturdays, it's hugely helpful. People really appreciate that. So they feel like they're getting a free day off every week, so that helps.
Yeah.
What are your future plans for Rotati?
We get pretty excited about technology, obviously, and one of the things that's really exciting me right now is virtual reality and augmented reality. I don't know if you've been.
It's a real estate industry. It seems to be pretty popular using virtual reality glasses of projects that aren't built yet.
Yeah.
A little bit of
I think it's
scary
fascinating
thing as well, isn't it?
It is, yes. And some of the demos I've seen from the Microsoft HoloLens is one example. That device is $3,000, but it looks like a bike helmet. And when you put it on, you've got this visor, and you can just see things in front of you generated from the computer that seem to interact with the real world. Another one that I just discovered, which is like a startup that's in stealth mode. No one really knows what they're doing apart from augmented reality. They're called Magic Leap, and it's unbelievable some of the demos I've seen of that software. It's just beautiful graphics that again interact with the real world, but it's not a big visor. I think it's more like the Google Glass,
Right.
which anyway, I really love this kind of space. I think there's a big future for it, and so that's something that Rotati might go into in the future.
Has that industry really taken off in the Western world? Because I hear a lot about it, and it looks all nice, but I don't think it's been really scalable yet.
No, it's very, very, very new. It's I think maybe there's another couple of years, but I think also if we start now, just slowly, not putting too much effort into not spending too much money rather on researching this, we can start to develop products and then have a head start. A little bit like companies back in 2005 that started developing for the iPhone,
Right.
or looking at that kind of platform way before anyone else was, and people looking at them like they're crazy. You're developing mobile apps for who, right? And then suddenly iPhone comes out, and they're like, that's why we're developing mobile apps, and then they just took off.
Well, we're running out of time with this fascinating conversation, so I have to ask you our last important question. What do you love about Cambodia, and what would you like to see improved?
I really love the people here. I love the countryside. And it's just very, very relaxing, especially in the countryside. Love to sit in a hammock. And what do I want improved?
You don't miss that wonderful English weather?
No. And the roads. There's the traffic, but mainly some of the broken roads would be nice to fix those roads.
Okay. Well, Darren, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're signing off. We'll see you next week when Antoine Jensen of Audi. Be exciting show. Cool. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
You're listening to Cambodia Business Week with Anthony Galliano and his business friends on Radio 1 FM 103.7.